In line with global best practices, fiscal and monetary authorities play significant roles in the management of the Nigerian economy. Their activities focus on keeping developments and trends in the economy on an even keel as they regulate and supervise key operators in the fiscal and monetary sectors of the economy. Welcome to this maiden episode of You and the Economy. My name is Chinemerem Joseph. I shall be your guide to the stories that shall unfold on this magazine program every week. The Monetary Authority in Nigeria is the country's central bank, known as the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The CBN was established by an Act of Parliament in 1958. Presently, the Apex Bank is charged with the overall control and administration of the monetary and financial sectors in Nigeria. Given the critical roles that the CBN plays in the development of the Nigerian economy, it is important that its stakeholders, especially its external publics, understand the thought process behind the decisions, policies and actions it takes from time to time in the discharge of its statutory roles. That is the main reason why You and the Economy is back to your screens again. Every week and at this same time on this station, You and the Economy will, in this new series, provide you with the precious information you need to know about some of the crucial policies of the Central Bank of Nigeria and how those policies affect you, the most valuable and esteemed stakeholder in the value chain of the economy. There is no doubt that year 2020 will remain indelible in human memory for a very long time as the year of the coronavirus pandemic, a phenomenon that brought even the great economies of the world to their knees. Consistent with the steps taken by monetary authorities in other major economies that experienced a downturn as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, the Central Bank of Nigeria, working with the fiscal authorities, sought to stimulate the Nigerian economy by injecting funds into it. With the primary objective of mitigating the impact of the pandemic on households and micro, small and medium enterprises (MSMEs), the CBN introduced the Targeted Credit Facility (TCF) as a stimulus package. The facility, now running in its second year, is being implemented by the National Microfinance Bank (NMFB). The Targeted Credit Facility, particularly its impact, is the focus of this first episode of You and the Economy. An exciting experience certainly awaits you.
I commend the CBN and the CBN governor for their thought leadership and generally their leadership in attacking the COVID pandemic.
As it is with most economies, the story of the Nigerian economy has been characterized by mixed fortunes. At the attainment of independence on October 1st, 1960, and through her first decade as an independent country, Nigeria's economy was basically agrarian in outlook. During that era, Nigeria earned the larger percentage of her foreign exchange from the exports of cash crops such as oil palm nuts, groundnuts, cocoa, and cotton, among others. More significantly, the country was self-sufficient in food production during that period. This was because farming at both subsistence and commercial levels for the production of food crops was a common enterprise in most parts of the country. the same way it was for cash crops farming. Indeed, food crops farming was widely practiced on small, medium, and large scale, either to feed the household or to earn income as commercial enterprise. This desirable trend subsisted through the first decade of the country's political autonomy. With the advent of commercial mining of her vast crude oil resources, particularly from the 1970s, Nigeria's economy began to grow in leaps and bounds. With the geometric increase in foreign exchange earnings from huge crude oil exports, especially during the oil boom era of the early to mid-1970s, Nigeria's economy began to grow in leaps and bounds. Indeed, by the mid-70s, the Nigerian economy had, with the massive earnings from oil exports, experienced a diversification from a monocultural one that depended almost solely on agriculture for development to an economy that was both agrarian and industrial in outlook. In the main, oil export earnings were pumped into promoting industrial development as Nigeria became less dependent on her agricultural sector. The infrastructure base of the country was equally transformed significantly with the proceeds from oil sales. This transformation had a resultant multiplier effect on the development of the economy. As it has been the experience of practically every country in the world, the Nigerian economy has had its ups and downs since the country attained independence in 1960. However, in spite of its history of fluctuating fortunes, one fact is incontrovertible about the status of the Nigerian economy today. It is presently the largest in Africa. As you were told earlier, in its resolve to mitigate the devastating impact of the coronavirus disease, otherwise known as COVID-19, on Africa's largest economy, the CBN unveiled the Targeted Credit Facility, TCF, in March 2020. The stimulus package was introduced to give succor to households and micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs, in the face of the pandemic. It set out to achieve this by providing financial support for households and MSMEs whose businesses and commercial activities were significantly disrupted by the pandemic. The TCF also aims at stimulating credit to small businesses to expand their productive capacity through equipment upgrade as well as research and development. In all, the scheme is designed to stimulate productive activities and ensure that unemployment does not rise steeply in the face of the debilitating impacts of the pandemic. The TCF is financed by the CBN through the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Fund, MSMEDF, while the Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, NIRSAL Microfinance Bank, is saddled with its implementation. As its target audiences suggest, the persons or parties eligible for the TCF are households and existing enterprises with verifiable evidence of livelihoods that have been adversely affected by COVID-19, and enterprises with bankable plans to take advantage of opportunities arising from the COVID-19 pandemic. The TCF attracts an all-inclusive interest rate of 5% per annum, with the rate increasing to 9% where repayments are made after 1 year of accessing funds from the scheme. The first step towards accessing the TCF is the filing of an application. Eligible households or MSMEs and corporate entities interested in the facility are required to submit their applications directly to National Microfinance Bank, the implementation body for the scheme. In addition, such eligible parties must provide clear evidence of the adverse impact of COVID-19 on them or their businesses. The amount disbursed by the TCF varies, as it depends on the criteria used to categorize an applicant. The maximum amount accessible by a small and medium enterprise (SME) is 25 million naira. The maximum tenure of the term facilities granted MSMEs under the TCF is not more than 3 years, with at least 1 year moratorium. For MSMEs that intend to access working capital through the TCF, a maximum of 25% of the previous 3 years' annual turnover of the applicant can be granted. However, where the business enterprise had not clocked 3 years in operation, 25% of its previous year's turnover can be granted. The tenure of the working capital granted under the TCF is a maximum period of 1 year with no option of rollover. For households, the maximum amount accessible under the TCF is 3 million naira.
If you see the way TCF designed, any genuine business or household will have access to it. Basically, all you need to do is access our portal, irrespective of where you are. In Nigeria, you can access it. Even abroad, once you are in Nigeria, you can access it, apply. You have a BVN, that is a unique identity. You have no fair credit check. You are good to go.
To further demonstrate its commitment to make the TCF accessible to a larger number of its intended beneficiaries, the CBN has dropped the requirement for the provision of guarantors by households and MSMEs interested in the scheme. To make access to the fund much easier, quite a number of those are the conditions relating to collaterals, as well as the eligibility requirement that intending beneficiaries must provide verifiable evidence that COVID-19 has actually had adverse impact on them, which were regarded as stringent by intending beneficiaries, have also been moderated, with some dropped outright.
When we started, the conditions are on the high level, but gradually we have to relax it because people are not having access. So some of the conditions you put there are subjective for measurement. So although some of the things were fine-tuned, so they were removed. Basic requirement that you need currently is just your BVN, and you have not felt credit. What that means is that you have not collected money in any bank as a loan, that you had defaulted. Because once you default, the system will flag you in the process of evaluation, loan evaluation, so you will not get the loan.
When it was introduced in March 2020, an exit date of 31st December 2024 was fixed for the TCF. This timeline was based on the optimism that the global economy would have recovered significantly from the adverse impact of COVID-19 by that date. In a relatively short period of a little over 1 year to its introduction, the TCF has registered significant impacts. Indeed, according to available records, as at May 2021, a whopping sum of 280 billion naira had already been disbursed to more than 600,000 successful beneficiaries in the implementation of the intervention scheme. 34% of these beneficiaries are SMEs. And due to its resounding success and positive impact on the economy, The CBN had doubled the chest of the facility from an initial 50 billion naira to 100 billion naira, and afterwards increased the offer to 150 billion naira. Plans are presently afoot to increase it to a remarkable sum of 400 billion naira from the sum of 300 billion naira that was projected as increment at the last count. This is being done by the CBN to accommodate more beneficiaries and boost consumer expenditure, which will positively stimulate the economy.
As long as we find that what we are doing is yielding results, particularly boosting consumption, expenditure and investment, we will continue to do so. And that is the reason monetary policy has given us the mandate to say, look, instead of plateauing at 300 billion, move further to 400 billion and support our households and SMEs for them to really begin to do business. So we'll continue to do any of these things because we believe that it will help our economy to grow and everybody will be happy and jobs will be created and the level of insecurity can reduce.
There is no doubt that the Targeted Credit Facility, TCF, is a commendable initiative. And given the huge number of successful subscribers it has recorded to date, the facility has certainly fulfilled its intended objective of cushioning the adverse effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, both on MSMEs and households in Nigeria. Some beneficiaries of the TCF now speak on how the intervention fund has impacted their lives and businesses.
This loan has actually impacted positively on our business, on our poultry farm business. It actually stopped us from going off our business because things were becoming so terrible. Everywhere was locked. It was even very terrible to get the old chicks from Ibadan. No movement, no nothing. Nowhere to bring feeds. The existing birds were having challenges. But as God will have it, as soon as we are about holding up, this money came and resuscitated our poultry farm again.
I got to know about the TCF loan through social media. A friend of mine sent me a link. We received the loan June 2020. Due to the fact that there was lockdown, our farmers were not able to go to the farms the way they should, and we also were not able to go there the way we should be able to access the place. But at the end of the day, the raw materials get to us really, really expensive. Our capital wasn't enough to do business since the cost of purchasing raw materials increased with like 200%. So when we accessed the loan, at least we were able to add it to the capital to help us increase production.
The COVID affected my business greatly, as a lot of things went down. The business was so slow. Everything was kind of going down. Nothing is working. But thank God for TCF, which I applied. I applied the loan in the year 2020. And to God be the glory, I got the loan the same 2020. The loan has really impacted my business effectively. It helped me to expand. Before I had about 6,000 fishes, but now I can boast of 12,000 and above.
The COVID-19 pandemic has affected the business in so many ways. Because of the restricted movements, people don't come in to buy the products. You have to store them for some time before you get buyer to sell it to. Yeah, it has helped the household in so many ways because it has kept me busy going up and down, and it has improved it has created even for expansion of the business. And it has generated another source of income to me as a person and to the household generally.
I benefited from the TCF COVID-19 intervention, and since the money came, things were so good for me now. I've improved in my business and my business have taken a new shape.
This COVID-19 pandemic affected my business due to the lockdown. So our business doesn't really like this lockdown because we are doing scraps and we have to spread our boys to go around places to buy this thing. So if there is a lockdown, there is no way we can buy. I collected this loan June 2020, and this loan really support my business.
You can access this loan if you really want to. It just takes a click away. The link is still there. You should try, and it will really work. It worked for me. It will work for you.
I've covered a large number of people, and from the feedback we got, it's actually a success story. The economy is coming up, and I believe that TCF is part of it. I would advise that Nigerians should be careful. We are aware there are scammers everywhere, people asking of facilitating fee. We have a whistleblowing portal. We encourage them to access the portal to report any individual, agent, or even staff of any that claims is acting as agent to collect facilitation fee, or what I will call it, whatever bribe, whatever name you want to call it. It's not allowed. You don't need to pay 1 kobo. Once you are qualified, based on those preconditions I've earlier mentioned, you access it.
The CBN is irrevocably committed to using the targeted credit facility as a veritable channel for ameliorating the adverse impact of COVID-19 on small businesses and households. Nonetheless, the Apex Bank is equally mindful of the need to orientate the target beneficiaries of the scheme to not see the loans they access under the TCF as grants given away to them free without any obligation to repay such back.
People have a wrong perception that it's a grant. It's not a grant. I urge people that have taken it should pay back. Because if you don't pay, the implication is one, the organization cannot be a going concern. There will probably a failure of NMAB because of impaired losses. 2, you can't get loan anywhere because the system will flag you. Credit risk man will flag you that you collected loan you have not paid. And 3, we're thinking of publishing those who defaulted at the national newspaper. And you know, it's a reputational issue because this loan is supposed to be revolving loan. You pay back, some other people will get it. So I urge you that you should pay back because the amount is significant.
Welcome back. There is no doubt that the timing of the introduction of the targeted credit facility by the Central Bank of Nigeria was quite timely and appropriate. Given its impressive subscription rate, it may not be an overstatement that without the facility, many small businesses may have gone under and several households immersed in misery as a result of the adverse impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, the Nigerian economy is unquestionably better for the initiative, and even as it is undeniable that the targeted credit facility has fared well in the realization of its core objective, its best is still yet to come. The target beneficiaries can, therefore, look forward to even brighter days ahead as they make to access the facility. For further information on the targeted credit facility, please visit the website of the CBN at www.cbn.gov.ng or call the CBN Contact Center on 0700 225 5226. Also follow You and the Economy on all our social media handles as they appear on your screens. Please join us again next week for another exciting edition of the program. Until then, it's goodbye and thank you for watching.